All right, so I have begun the recording. So welcome to our summit. My name is Dr. Carla Gibson. I'm a chiropractor in Chandler, Arizona, soon to have an office in Scottsdale. And I also work with people all over the world to help them release the stress and the tension that's being caused by their unconscious memories, their unconscious emotions. It might be manifesting in their physical body or as a block to them having everything they want. So I'm recording this for the summit that we're doing for our new book, People Skills, which came out yesterday. And I have Kaz Gaddis with me. She's one of my clients, but I haven't worked with her in many months. And she graciously agreed to be on the call with me today so that we can demonstrate how the neuro-emotional release that I do with my clients works. So in the book, People Skills, it's basically 11 chapters with just a humongous toolbox of things you can do to really increase your ability to be with people, to communicate with people, and to help you be the most effective coach that you can be. So as I said, I'm trained as a chiropractor. I never actually trained as a coach or did any specific coaching training, but through my work with neuro-emotional techniques, what I do looks a lot like coaching, and the neuro-emotional techniques allows me to put in a physical piece so that along with talking through what's going on with my clients or talking through blocks and things that are stopping them, we can also do a physical correction that just seems to complete the conversation in a way that allows massive action to be possible. So, Kaz, I didn't ask you this ahead of time, but you've worked with me in the past. Could you just say a couple things about your experience with the coaching that you did before?
Sure, and if you could repeat, I'm sorry, there was a little bit of lag. You said to talk about my experience with?
Yeah, just maybe tell them in a couple sentences your experience with working with this type of coaching before.
Sure. So I had never experienced anything like this or heard of anything like this in the past before meeting Carla, and that was fabulous. I've never met someone who can make me laugh and cry at the same time so much. But no, these sessions are just so, words really cannot express the depth of, working with you, you get right to the core. Like, I don't even know what the core is, and you got there with me. So it really helps. It's helped me in the past, the few times actually that we've done this, not only physically, like the pain or whatever it is feels different or is gone completely, which is very different and very weird in a good way. But also I find that I leave feeling refreshed. And a lot of times at the end of our chat, I let go of whatever that was. And when I leave the computer, I leave the room that I'm in, it doesn't follow me. I'm done with it. So it's really helped me to just grow past into the next level of my reinvention, which we're always doing that, right? So yeah, it's been super impactful. Words cannot really describe it, but it's been awesome. I highly recommend it, and I recommend you. You're freaking awesome.
Thank you. Yes, and words are very difficult to describe it, which is why we're doing a video.
Yeah.
So in the book People Skills, in the chapter that I wrote, I'm really a stand that no matter where you are, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a coach, whether you're a professional, it's really the most important person that you take care of is yourself. Mm-hmm. So in the book, I really remind people reading the book that they have probably gotten where they are because they've invested tons of time, energy, dollars into themselves already. And many times, once you decide you want to give back and start to help others, the first person that you forget to help is you. And so in the book, I really encourage the readers to take on a 30-day challenge of just radical self-care, of going through all the tools you've used. You know, we've all had the experience of we use a tool for a while, we learned it changed our life, and then for some reason, we just don't go back to it. And we get stuck in something, we can't break through something, and we're like, oh, well, we're not going to use that tool. That was so, 4 years ago, and it seems so simple. And that's just a trick that our brains play with us. It's just part of being human. So in the book, I describe a little process that you can use to get yourself unstuck, really to get yourself present to what you're really dealing with and to get stuck so that you can move through it quickly. And there's a website that you can go to see how to use that tool, but Kaz is going to demonstrate it for us. So It's called the First Aid Stress Tool, and it was developed by Scott Walker, who developed one of the techniques I use, which is called neuro-emotional technique, which is actually a technique that's usually only done in person, and I've adapted it to use parts of it along with some other things I do in online sessions as well. So the First Aid Stress Tool basically has you use the meridian system, similar to what they use in acupuncture, which can be accessed by the pulse points on your wrist. And so there's 3 pulse points, and if you lay your own fingers down, starting right at the crease of your wrist where you take a pulse, and then just lay each finger next to each other, 3 up, there's 3 pulse points. And when you put a light touch, or you can actually put a deep touch, you access the energy systems of different organs in your body. And so the way this works is that when you, if there's a stressful thought, or you're having trouble relaxing, or you want to go into a little bit of a meditation and really see how you're feeling about something and really get present how you're feeling about something, then you go ahead and if you put your hand this way, you can reach around and grab those 3 pulse points and then just lay your hand on your forehead, because there's other points here on your forehead that are the emotion points. So I said Kaz is going to demonstrate it, and here I am demonstrating it.
Yeah, I'm like.
So here we go. And then you just switch, and there's different organs and different meridians that are accessed on the opposite hand as well. And so in the book, I explain a process for you to do that yourself. Now, that you combine that with a deep breath, you usually have to hold it for a minute or 2, and you're gonna feel a shift, or you're just gonna feel more present, or you're just gonna like, okay, I'm putting my hand on my forehead, I'm not sure why, but when you take your hand away, just your affect and how you're feeling will be different. So then if you find yourself, still kind of stuck or something's recurring, that's when you might want to work with a practitioner. And so you're all coaches, you probably all have a favorite coach. So many coaches are using different tools that deal with the physical and the emotional, which is fabulous. There's coaches that use emotional freedom technique and some different things. But what I wanted to demonstrate in this video is how we kind of use a combination of talking through something that's going on with you and some remote muscle testing and some physical corrections to actually make a deeper change for you on the emotional, physical, and sometimes even chemical and biochemical level, because you can't affect one of those systems without affecting them all. So let's go ahead and start the demonstration just by having Kaz do a range of motion. We were talking before we started the recording, and she's had a lot of change. She's lost some dear pets, has some loss in the last few weeks. Some big changes. Then she was in a car accident. So along with having some, stress that we all carry when life happens, she's also dealing with some physical issues. So Cass, go ahead and show us your range of motion, which is really just like moving your neck in all the different directions, and let us know, like we can kind of see how far you can go. Now, is there pain with that motion still, or did that work itself out when you were doing that before?
Yeah, no, there's still some pain with it.
Okay, so you get pain when you go from the left and the right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then what about when you tuck your chin all the way down?
I could just feel like the pull and the tension over here.
Tension there, and then all the way back, right? And then turn the side. So side to side, you got pretty good range of motion. Is there any pain when you go side to side?
It pulls from this side. So when I'm here, it pulls quite a bit.
So it's all pulling into that pain. Great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to know. So, like I said, we talked a few minutes before, and you said that there's a variety of things that you have going on in your life right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Different things. So, in most coaching sessions, I guess, I don't know how it works, but in most coaching sessions, what happens is your participant or the person you're coaching comes in and they say, well, this is what I want to work on today. In fact, even Kaz said that. Kaz, tell us a little bit about what it is you pinpointed as something that you really want to have a breakthrough in.
Sure. Again, depending on when everyone's watching this video, I felt like it was really pertinent to me right now personally, but also I think 'tis the season for all of us, regardless if they're watching it now, approaching January, or maybe, it's just in the midst of transition for them, which it is for me both, actually. 'Tis a season and also 'tis a season for transition. So for me, it would be really helpful to, I guess, clean up some of the negative self-talk and really have more love towards myself, to be able to forgive myself for maybe things that happened this year, things that I tried and attempted, didn't succeed or whatnot, so that I can be productive and just have more focus for preparing for next year. Right now I'm finding it to be a challenge with with focus because I'm so down on myself for different things that have gone creatively differently than anticipated.
The old, it doesn't look the way I thought it should look, and it's
Yeah.
gone the way I thought it should go. I got it.
Yeah.
Great. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to use some remote muscle testing to tap in, because, you know, there's what Kaz says, and then there's what is actually interfering. And sometimes what's interfering isn't the part that we can access with our conscious mind. It's not actually the part that gets spoken. It's actually something that's not being spoken that's causing the interference. So I'm just going to tap in here. I'm not going to demonstrate it, because that might be a little too woo-woo, but basically it's just a way for me to guide the conversation to something that will make a difference for Kaz. So actually, I'm going to have you close your left eye.
Sorry, I had to look. I'm like, which is my left? Okay, so this one.
And then you're going to point your eyes to the left.
Is it okay that I'm holding it?
It is okay, although I'm going to need you to actually use your fingers to touch some spots on the back of your head. So
okay.
So go ahead.
I'm going to look really awkward. Okay.
Starting already, because, we haven't made you cry yet. So
I know. I'm just socially awkward anyway. Okay, so closing my left.
Go ahead and take your hands, and I want you to feel in the back of your head, right where your skull and your neck meet, right in the bones there, and find a spot on either side that feels a little tight or tender.
Okay.
Find that spot. You can just leave a nice light pressure on it. You don't have to keep poking that. Just leave a nice.
Is it for two, like one spot for each hand, or just one spot?
One spot on each side.
Okay, got it.
All right, so I'm going to have you focus on a feeling. So the feeling is sincerity, and the number is going to be 9, and you're going to take in a big, deep breath and just hold it as long as you can. I'm going to have you focus on the feeling of sincerity and the number 9. And really, you're just the feeling you have in your body when you experience sincerity, whether that's you being sincere or somebody being sincere towards you. Sincerity and the number 9. Relax your breath in your eyes, and before you take your hands away, go ahead and feel those spots and tell me if there's any change, or sometimes they might feel better, sometimes they might feel worse.
They're still the same.
About the same? Okay, good. So, go ahead and relax your eyes and your hands. We're going to go to age 3 and a negative experience with a female family member. Now, you might remember what this experience is. You might not. In this part of the technique, it doesn't matter. This time, both eyes are going to be closed. You're going to point your eyes to the right. Then you're going to go ahead and find those spots in the back of your head again. They might be the same spots, or they might be different, but just find 2 tender spots and you put a nice light pressure on them. And this time you're going to take a big deep breath in and hold it and focus on the feeling of hopeful. Hopeful in the number 9. Hopeful number 9. Just remind every cell in your body what it feels like to feel hopeful. Just breath in your eyes. And give those little rubs, see if there's any change, the same, better, worse.
It's a little bit better.
Okay. All right. So I want you to think about the number 1 stress in your life right now. And you can share it with us if you want, or if it's something you don't want to share, that's okay. But we call this a recurring thought. So, you said, like, you nailed it down, like what it is there's things that happened this year that I don't want to take with me.
Sorry.
Okay. But what's the stress? Like, what's the recurring thought, the thought that comes up over and over again in the back of your mind?
Sure. So this is, it would be entrepreneurship. I'm in my first year, and it would mainly be the concern around not entrepreneurship, the concern around money, just finances, and if I'm doing the right thing in the sense.
Great. So let's put the concept that you're concerned, the stress that comes up over and over again is, am I doing the right thing? Yeah, that'll work. So let me just check in here. We're going to do this with a feeling. So, feeling and meridian. Great. So let's check the concept we're going to do this with. Water. Okay. So let's set the feelings that you have or the thoughts that you have about, am I doing the right thing? Let's set that aside for a minute. Let's check the concept of some feelings. So let's check the concept of fear. Let's check the concept of your fear. So this kind of makes sense, but go ahead and tell me how fear goes together with, am I doing the right thing in a way that makes some sense to you?
Sure. So for me, fear and doing the right thing would be, so I've been doing this now for a year, and I'm fearful on whether or not the sacrifices and the risks that I took were the right ones to make. Especially we want to start a family in a few years, and as all of us are looking at, are we on the right path, or is it more risk than it is what it is that we were supposed to be doing, which is making a positive impact. So I have a fear of the money part, but I also have a fear of like, am I even doing what my purpose is meant to be? And those two combined is like super scary.
Takes you out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take the concept that there's a fear of, am I doing the right thing? Am I following my purpose? Am I doing the right thing with regards to money? All of that. Let's take the concept of, well, tell me first, what's the worst part about that for you?
The worst part about that is twofold. One, I feel like I'm putting unnecessary stress on my husband, and I'm letting financial situations define me in a negative way. And then the other part is I feel like I'm wasting time that I could actually be serving in my purpose and making more of an impact. But I'm too busy trying to figure myself out I don't feel like I'm getting very far.
That's the concept that you feel like you're wasting time. That's the concept that you put unnecessary burden on your husband. What was the third thing? There was something else you said.
Not making that impact that I feel that I'm meant to make, that I know I will make.
The concept that you're unable to make the impact you'd like to make. Great. So you notice how you had several different things that come up, and what I'm finding with the muscle testing is that really only one of those things really is causing interference. The rest are just authority, and they may have interference that they're creating in other places, but what's in priority right now that we can work with is this fear that you're unable to make the impact that you know you're going to make. It may be somehow, you're going to mess it up, or you're not going to make the impact because of some choice you made, something like that, right? So let's check the concept of the original event in your life where there was a fear that you wouldn't be doing the right thing, the fear you wouldn't have the impact you want to have, and there was some fear about it. Let's check the concept of conception at 10, conception at 5, so 5, 6, 7, 8. So at age 8, where were you? What were you doing?
At age 8, I was living in New York. Usually that's second grade, right? Or is that first grade?
Yes, it could be third.
Okay, or third. Just kidding. I don't remember much about third grade, honestly. I remember my professor, but I really don't remember a lot of experiences. But during that time, I was living in New York. My parents were separating. They weren't married, but they were in the midst of separation. I cannot really remember much else about that time.
Okay, so let's take the concept that the fear has something to do, like that it was still your fear. Let's just consider it something to do with what you experienced at school, something you were experiencing with your parents. So it has something to do with what was going on at home. Mom and dad are separating, there's things, and, let's just consider it something to do with something you saw your parents, something you saw. So really something that they said or something you observed or something might have given you a similar feeling like, oh my gosh, what if I can't have the impact I'm supposed to have? And as a third grader, as an 8-year-old, that's probably not the word that you use.
Yeah.
But that was like a time in your life where you learned something about making an impact.
I live with my grandparents. I was raised by my grandparents, so I'm trying to think. My parents lived in the Caribbean, so I'm trying to think of what that conversation might have been like. I do know that was around the time too that my stepmom told me I had a sister. Turns out she's not really my sister, but anyway, that all happened in that year. So when it comes to the fear of not making an impact, the only thing I could remotely think about, I'm looking because I wrote it down, is maybe not having the impact maybe on my dad because I wasn't like raised by him, or now he was, going to someone else or something. I'm not really sure.
Okay, yeah, like somehow, sometimes as a 8-year-old, like it's a fear that you have an impact. Right? That like something you do, like, oh, I didn't eat my peas and now mom and dad are getting divorced. Like it kind of gets put together like that because we don't really know all the things that are going on. We just see cause and effect. 1 minute we're getting somebody's upset with how we're being, how we're acting, and then the next minute there's really big changes. And sometimes they're young, but they're not connected.
Mm-hmm.
Decision about how we need to be in the world. Like, oh, I'm here in the States getting raised by my grandparents, and so, oh, that means I have to be something. Like, I'm so privileged, you know, whatever they say, right? Like, oh, you're going to grow up to be the president, or
Yeah.
right? So there's a conversation that's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I bring up kind of all those different possibilities of conversations that could have been swirling around you, first thing without thinking about it.
Tell me that last part. I'm sorry.
When we talk about all the different conversations that could have been swirling around for you at that age,
mm-hmm.
when I ask you what one caused the most fear, what's the first one that pops into your mind?
I don't know why. I feel like I always have, every time we talk about these, I feel like sometimes initially that there's so much block within me with that age. And then you eventually make me cry. I really don't know.
That's perfect. So I'm just going to say for the people watching, this is what's perfect, right? Because if you know what's blocking you, you don't need us. You don't need a coach. You know, right? It's for the things you don't know.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to ask Carla to do is I'm going to ask her to take her left hand, and you're going to go to that third pulse point. So when you lay your fingers down, it's the pulse point furthest away from your thumb.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and put your hand flat on your forehead, and then just reach around. 1, 2, 3. And I just want you to close your eyes and go back in time. I just want you to go back to being 8 years old. I want you to look at, the house you slept in, maybe the room you had. And just get a picture or a feeling of what it felt like to live with your grandparents, to find out your parents are separated, to find out some big changes are happening in your family, find out you have a sister you didn't know you had, all these different things. And just stay with that picture, that feeling. Really collapse time and go back to being that little 8-year-old girl. And just stay with that picture, that feeling as long as you can until you feel a shift or you just quite can't access that feeling anymore. And use your breath to breathe into any place in your body where you feel a stress or a tension related to fear. Maybe come back to now and find the places where that stress and that tension of fear now of not doing the right thing, of not making an impact.
I'm trying to finish the memory to try to think. So really funny. I used to take my sidewalk chalkboard, and I would put it by the metal gate. Again, I grew up in New York, one of the worst, but not worst, but it was one of the most dangerous blocks ever in most of New York City. And I would teach math or reading to people as they were walking by, or I try to sell them stuff from like my little stoop. During that same year, I remember hearing a lot from like my grandma wouldn't let me sit outside and do this unless she was around to watch me. That year, this guy came up to me during one of those summer days or whatever that I would teach or I would sell these things. I was a young entrepreneur in the making. And he came with an empty sack, like a sack of onions, but empty. And he was trying to tell my grandmother that he was trying to sell her some of this. And there was this silver gate between us. And my grandma told me in Spanish, "Come closer, come inside now." And so I was coming up closer to leave with her inside, and he opened the gate and he tried to steal me. You're making me cry. And so anyway, we went inside and we locked the door really fast and called my cousin who lived across the street. He came out and ran with a bat against this guy, and they ran down many blocks. So randomly, that's what came up.
Okay, so I want you to go back and imagine being the little girl who's sitting on the stoop. Imagine you've got your chalkboard and you're talking to people as they go by, selling stuff. And then imagine what that was like the first time you saw the man. So tell me again, the man, how he approached. Tell me what that was like again.
Yeah, tell you like how he approached. He came up to the stoop, and again, I was, people were walking by, so I was just, doing my little jabber stuff. And he was acting a little weird, and he told my grandma and me that he was selling onions, but his bag was clearly empty. And he came right up to the gate, and she already kind of knew that something was off. So she told me to come in, and she was at the top of the stairway. And so she was maybe 3-4 feet away from the door. I was, I don't know, maybe 7. And so I came up the stoop really fast. And as soon as she grabbed my hand, he had opened the door to the gate and jumped up the few stairs. And she literally threw me inside with her and locked the door really fast. And this was her already in her late 60s.
Wow.
So she passed now too, which is why it's sad.
So you're going to take your left hand again, but this time you're going to take that first pulse point right by your crispy. And the feeling you're going to is lost and vulnerable. Okay. I want you to put your hand on your forehead, and I just want you to go ahead and just go back to that moment where you realize this person is not telling the truth. You can trust him like you can trust all the other people walking by. And something happens, you know, he's trying to take you. And in that instant, there's a feeling, a deep feeling of lost and vulnerable. I want you to stay with that picture and that feeling of he tried to grab me, grandma had to save me, he wasn't there, what if he actually said all the things that come up in that instant where there's danger or fear. And just stay with that picture of feeling as long as you can. All right. Okay, so just go back, and I'm just going to have you tell me again about the man coming up to the gate.
Sure. So yeah, he, again, coming down the street, he told my grandmother and I that he was selling onions and had this knapsack thing. It was empty. And as he kept on approaching me and my grandmother, she knew that something was off. And so she told me in Spanish to go up the stairs, and I ran with her inside. Just in time, she literally had to actually hit his hand because he was coming into the door. And she was able to lock it really fast and call my cousins to run after him with the bat.
Great. So now when I test that, now that's all strong. There isn't any, there's not anything there that weakens you or takes you out. So just for fun, let's check in and see how we're doing with your physical symptoms. So I want you to go ahead and do the range of motion with your neck again and tell me what's the same and what's different.
I feel like I could do a little bit more on this side than I could before.
So given a number, this is why we use numbers, right?
Oh, like number 1 to 10 or something?
We were given a number to begin with, but we didn't.
You're good. At the beginning, I would say flexibility-wise, it was probably out of 4, and I think now it's like out of 5. So
we made it worse?
No, I'm sorry. So it was at a 5. I can't count. It was at a 5. First you make me cry, then you ask me to ask numbers or say numbers. I can't even talk. So yeah, 5, and then it became a 4.
Awesome. And then when you go up and down, any change there?
I felt like I could do it longer. I could go further forward and further backward, but I do notice that the pain in the back. But as far as the movement in itself, I would say that it was probably at a 7. Nope. Wait. Okay. So I wasn't as flexible, and now I'm a little bit more flexible. So take it down a notch or 2, either way you need it to be to make sense of what I just said.
Awesome. So we could have told the viewers that when you started, that the range of motion that she had and the pain level that she had with seeing a chiropractor 3 times a week for, I don't know, the last few weeks since she got started. So it's interesting now to see what shifts in your physical adjustments, because there's some past memory, a fear, a moment where everything your whole life could change for you. And so what we did is we've taken some of the physical stress out of that. I don't know, like you said, you hadn't thought of that story in years, but you're out there being an entrepreneur every day. And you had an experience when you were 8 years old about that actually in your brain put being an entrepreneur and being safe, link them forever together, as being an entrepreneur is not safe.
And it's funny that was what came up, and that trust was what came up, because while I love people, I super love people. When it comes to my own business, I don't trust people. And what I mean by that is, and I want to, and it's interesting. So anyway, long story short, like I'd love to have more team members and people that are working with me to serve others. But at the same time, I have this issue with trusting people to do what it is I need to do or how or whatever. And it's funny because when we've worked before for other companies or whatnot, like I had a team of 40 people that I trained and led. So why can I not do it in my own business? So it's interesting how trust is still at the key of this. And it just is very real for me.
Yeah, that's great. So let's do one more correction. So what is it that you would love to create for yourself and your life in 2017?
Simplicity. I found a really cool quote that this year that said, simple yet significant. And that's what I want my life next year to be, is I want to move into the significant part where I am serving and being myself. Not that I'm not myself, but being myself in my business in a way that I'm really making a change, not just in my own life. And I want it to be simple, because when it comes to my own stuff, I think we all tend to overcomplicate things or just get in our head a lot. And I want to have that simplicity.
Awesome. So let's check. So I'm going to have you say, I'm okay with simplicity.
I'm okay with simplicity.
What? That brings up something. Let's find out what that is. So go ahead and say it a couple more times.
I'm okay with simplicity.
Okay, great. So what comes up is a feeling of frightfully overjoyed. So how would you put frightfully overjoyed
Frightfully overjoyed.
together with being okay with simplicity? How do you put those together in a way that makes some sense to you?
I don't really trust simpleness.
Right. How could it be simple? That'd be too easy. And then it more than,
Yeah, like, yeah.
There's a conversation in our world that says, if you don't work for it, then maybe you can't trust it, or you got to work hard to make money,
Mm-hmm.
work hard for it, then maybe you're doing something dishonest, right? There's all these things that people say about simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? Why does it bother you? Why does maybe what's the frightfully overjoyed about, right? Like, oh, this would be great, but could it really be real?
Yeah, I think frightfully is the trusting in this process being simple is very frightening to me. And overjoyed because I want it to be. So, yeah.
Got it. Okay, great. So this is going to be that left hand with the wrist crease correction again.
With the 3?
Just the first one.
Just first one. Got it.
And then you can just close your eyes and go within. And I just want you to breathe into all the places where that frightfully overjoyed is like, oh, I want my life to be simple, but what if it's too simple? It's easy. See, with that picture, that feeling of being frightfully overjoyed. Oh, I really want it, but what could go wrong? It's just that easy. Something like that. Whatever that comes up for you. Just stay with that picture, that feeling as long as you can until you feel a shift. You can't quite access it anymore. Go back to say it again. I'm okay with simplicity.
I'm okay with simplicity.
Safe for me to experience simplicity.
It's safe for me to experience simplicity.
Ready, willing, and able for my life to be simple.
I'm ready, willing, and able for my life to be simple.
And it's good for me for my life to be simple.
It's good for me for my life to be simple.
Good for others for my life to be simple.
It's very good for others for my life to be simple.
Great. So that's what we call surrounding the dragon. And sometimes, things will come up around safety or being ready or willingness. So we got some of that clear for you. So just one more time, do a little neck motion. Just curious to see what happened with that one, because that was what was on your mind today.
I feel like this side is not as flexible as it was a minute ago.
Yeah, so we locked something off the back. Good deal.
And this side is way more flexible. So
Yep.
This is my issue side anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's great. When you get that next adjustment, to make a big difference. And really, when we take this off sleep, when you sleep overnight, that's when like the healing part really kicks in. But we've actually made healing available to you, because you probably noticed that you're feeling a little more relaxed. I mean, we can see on your face, if you rewind this video and see when we first sat down, you can see she's more relaxed, she's more present, she's her natural smile and glow on her face. So that's basically what I do in a session. Now, this was we went for a good 10 minutes. Sometimes there's more talking. Sometimes there's more figuring out. Sometimes you come with a list of things and we dive in. So For those of you that have bought the book, or maybe you're just watching this and you haven't bought the book, I don't know why you wouldn't, because I think it's free until tomorrow, and after that you can get it on Amazon. If you email me, my email address is in the book, or you can go to carlagibson.com and send me a message. I'm offering a special. So if you take on my 30-day challenge in the book, I will offer you a six-session package, which means we'll do one session to help set up your 30-day challenge. We'll do a session every week for 4 weeks while you're doing your 30-day challenge of self-care, and then we'll have a wrap-up session at the end to help you, plan the next 30 days. And normally the sessions are $199 per session, and so I don't know, that's $1,200. But for readers of the book, I'm offering that 6-session package for $499. So
Wow.
touch with me, and let's set you up for success. The first of the year is a perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get anywhere with resolutions or intending or creating new things in your life if you don't start with you first. So I'm really a fan that you take care of you as well as you take care of all the wonderful people that you serve. And I really appreciate you watching. And please get in touch with any questions. And thank you so much, Kaz, for being here.
Thank you so much for this time, Carla.
Bye-bye.